Welcome to Love You a Brunch, the podcast for foodies and those who'd rather be brunching. Hi, I'm Jody Stapler. We are with Kristie Sullivan today. Kristie has a new cookbook out, Keto Gathering. I just got it today on my Kindle. It was released for the first time this morning, and I have to tell you, I'm already in love with it.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me a little bit about yourself first so that our listeners can get to know you.
So, gosh, I am really just a mom trying to feed her kids. I'm not a professional cook, no professional training at all. But I happened to stumble on a ketogenic diet 5.5 years ago. It was June of 2013. So I was started doing keto when no one knew what keto was. I always laugh and say I was keto when keto wasn't cool. Um, but I used it to lose over 100 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had significant back issues. I had scoliosis as a child, and my back, I have spondylolisthesis and stenosis. It just kind of goes on. And I was on different pain medications. My mobility was limited. I was in significant pain quite a bit. And I had tried everything to lose weight. And of course, the doctor always says to lose weight and this will help your back pain. And really had exhausted options. I was just doing pain management, had exhausted options with my back with treatment. And so losing weight became really important. I had young children. I wasn't able to do things. And quite honestly, I'd become depressed. And even though I have a PhD, I have a great job, house, husband, had done everything I ever wanted to do in my life, I couldn't manage my weight. And I also am one of those people, and I think you'll understand this, who I love to cook and I love to feed people. And that's part of how we love people, especially here in the South.
Right.
And so I was always the person who took like the special dessert or made the special recipe for gatherings, for holidays, for celebrations, for birthdays. I was that trusted family cook. And so when we went keto, it's kind of interesting because when you think of diet food, you don't think about the food that you would have to celebrate.
Exactly.
And so that became part of it for me. It was like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life because it's a health thing for me. I can't just have, if I want chocolate cake, I can't have it. I have to make it. And I can make it and make it healthy. And so the whole idea behind keto gatherings is you can follow this special diet, be healthy, reduce the carbohydrate, but still be part of the celebration. You can still have joy in those holiday seasons, whether it's a birthday or graduation or just you're celebrating because it's Wednesday. Um, it's it's okay to enjoy your food.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I have been off and on. Well, I guess it started with Atkins back in 9 years ago. And low carb and been keto for the last couple years, but not completely because I have a really hard time with it, especially this time of year. For the last month, it's been so hard for me to not go and eat those cookies that everybody has
Right,
or the
right.
pies. And it's especially because everything on Facebook is popping up with all these delicious recipes and they're showing all this food. So when I got your book this morning and saw that it is so cookie, pastry, cake, ice cream full, it's amazing to me because I've had that's my downfall. That truly is
Right.
my downfall. So how have you been
Oh,
able to do this for 5 years and stick with it?
I think it's because I love the food. And I'm a foodie. I mean, I once stood in line 2 hours in Chicago to go to a donut
Yeah,
restaurant
I
because it
would
was
do
like,
the same thing. Yes, it's really hard.
it is, but I love the food, but I also love feeling good. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's that and I'm being totally honest, I am terrified of being back that 270-pound woman who is 5 foot nothing and wore size 22, 24 clothes. And when you've been morbidly obese most of your life, I mean, I started getting overweight when I was 3,
Mm,
and I couldn't even wear clothes from typical store growing up. There weren't plus size stores really
yeah.
in the,
Right.
in the 80s.
Right.
But so yeah, so that's such the struggle. So that my a lot of my motivation honestly is fear. Like I don't want to go back to that place. I'm not on any pain medications anymore. Like I
Wow.
can do things with my children, but I also still love food. And
Yeah.
so I think just like I won the lottery. I don't know what happened, but I can make ice cream, like gingerbread ice cream for Christmas. I can make that and I can eat it and I can still wear my size 10 clothes. I mean, that's what's amazing to me. When I was obese, I couldn't eat. Like, I didn't eat. I would restrict food. I'd have a salad and, low fat dressing. And I was miserable. And that's why I failed over and
Right.
over again.
Right. And that's why I do love the keto diet, because you can eat until you are no longer hungry and you don't
Right.
feel like you're missing out, except for me during these holiday times. And that's why I'm loving your book.
Aw,
Y-
great.
Seriously, I'm gonna try some of these desserts because over the years I've tried low carb desserts and they just don't, the texture's not right, the taste isn't right, but these pictures look amazing.
Right. Well,
They look just like what you'd expect a cake to look like.
I'll be honest, I don't know if you like coconut, but coconut is one of those cakes that I've been able to make and pass off to the carbivores. I call them the carbivores,
Yeah,
but my family.
that's funny. I call them carbitarians.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah,
Yeah.
you can pass those off and people will go, "I really, you're kidding. This is sugar free. This is low carb." Now, a lot of it's about the sweetener. And so you've got to get the sweetener right. If you don't love the
Right.
sweetener you're using, that's part of the battle. But I also use an ingredient that oat fiber, and it's a pure insoluble fiber. There are a couple brands that are gluten free. There are only two brands I recommend, to be honest. Some brands are really awful. And if you try those brands, you'll hate me. Um, and I'm not, this is not an affiliation. I don't get compensated for saying this. But I do love the Trim Healthy Mama brand and the Life Source. Life Source I order from Nutrition for $3.50 a bag, so it's not expensive. But that's the key to the mouthfeel. It doesn't have,
Yeah.
it's that flour-like mouthfeel, but it's insoluble fiber, so it doesn't raise blood glucose. And diabetics have eaten my diabetic type 1 diabetics who are on monitors have eaten my desserts and been like, "Wow, Kristie, this I don't need insulin, I don't need a bolus in order to eat this,"
Wow. Yeah.
which is amazing. But yeah, getting the sweetener, if you can do that, and then just the right ingredients, yeah, maybe you'll find something that you enjoy.
Absolutely. Now, where do you find all these, like this has been a major problem for me with cooking and baking keto, is that I have the almond flour, I have the coconut flour, but I've never gone out and got the xanthan gum or the whey protein or the psyllium husk. Where do you get that stuff?
Yeah, so that a lot of this does have to be ordered online, but I'll tell you the isopure. So, the whey protein isolate. You want the whey protein isolate. Isolate has the casein and the lactose removed, and there are only a few brands I use. Again, but Isopure is one that you can get at GNC. J Rob is a great one, and J Rob is often at grocery stores, so you don't have to special order
Okay.
that. Yeah. Now the psyllium. Here's a little secret: the psyllium fiber. If you can't find it in the baking aisle, go to the laxative aisle. And unflavored psyllium is the same that you're going to find in things like benefiber, metamucil, things like that. That's what you're looking for. It's
Wow, okay.
yeah, it's crazy
See, I would
in
not have known that.
baking. Right. I have been doing this a few years, and I found the hard
Yeah,
way. Right. But yeah,
right.
and there are brands on Amazon. Of course, Amazon Prime is a must for me and my family. But and it only takes a little bit of those things when you're using them in a recipe. So the xanthan gum, I honestly don't use very much. It's to help with texture, but often it can be deleted or omitted from a recipe. So that's not one that I worry too much. In fact, in my recipes, I'll usually write optional in there. So.
Okay. I one thing I love about your book is that you have it monthly. And so it's very nice to go to. I have 4 kids and I'm a busy mom, and anything that takes planning away from me and I can just go through and go, "Oh, okay, it's December. Let's look in December." That's a great help. So what made you come up with that?
Well, that's how they were kind of organized in my brain. These are recipes I've made for my family and that we use at our own celebrations. And so that's why I decided to organize it by month. The Chex Mix, that's something that actually that's January for football parties, but that's something I've always made for my brother. And so it just made sense that it would be a football party. And then the other thing that happens, I think, with holidays is we get overwhelmed and people don't know what to fix. They don't know what to have. Like they'll say, "Gosh, it's Easter." And I'm going, "Man, we've done Easter now 5 times. Let me tell you what we do for Easter."
Right.
And so part of it was really to help people figure out, well, wait a minute, these are my favorites. We've had these traditions. What do I eat? Well, this is what you can eat, and this works.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm so glad I was able to download this morning because it really is amazing. Now, when does the book itself get released? Is
Now,
that the 18th?
actually, today is
Oh,
release
today the
day.
all of it comes out. Okay. Okay,
Yeah, so
great.
they're being delivered on Amazon. Folks in my Facebook group are showing me pictures. I got my book at 8:30 this morning. I'm going, oh my goodness, whose mail comes at 8:30 this?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's actually, and that's the fun part for me. The whole process of writing a book is kind of lonely. And so the fun part of me is like, I feel like because it's been finished for a few months now, right? Because it has to be edited
Right.
and it goes to the printer and then it has to be shipped. And so I've been sitting here for 2 months with this gift wrapped, like just waiting for other people to open it. And so this is the most fun, kind of exciting part for me is people are getting it and they're going, oh my gosh, I'm making this. And so I bet by the end of the day, folks will be sending me pictures of things they're making. And what I love more than anything, because these are special recipes I've made for people I love, now I get to watch other people make them for people they love. And I know that these are going to
Right.
become part of their holiday traditions. And like what a privilege that is to be a part of that, that people trust my recipes enough to share them with their loved ones and to put them on their holiday table.
Absolutely. Now, explain a little bit about the keto diet that maybe people don't know exactly what it is. I know when I say to people that I do keto, people get very standoffish and like that's not a healthy way to eat and how can you get all your nutrients?
Right.
But go ahead and since you've been doing this, go ahead and explain to people what exactly it is.
So, yeah, and unfortunately, keto has been mischaracterized so much in the media. It drives me a bit crazy. But honestly, it's just eating whole, real foods. We don't eat processed and refined carbohydrates, no sugar, no pasta, potatoes, or rice, which actually, if you think about it, all of those things that I'm saying we don't eat bread, pasta, potatoes, rice, those things aren't very good unless you add fat to them. But the
Right.
idea of a ketogenic diet is you keep your carbohydrate low because to process carbs, your body needs insulin because carbs raise your blood glucose. Your blood glucose can only be so high before it causes damage to your body. So the body produces insulin to lower your blood sugar. And insulin's a hoarder hormone, and it can, for those of us, especially with metabolic dysfunction, can make you obese and overweight. And it's dysfunctional, the whole, the hyperinsulinemia, the really high levels of insulin. So by reducing your carbohydrate intake, you keep your sugar stable, no more hangriness. You keep your blood
Mm.
sugar stable and you lower your circulating levels of insulin. So that's why it's a great diet for diabetics. But anyway, the whole idea of keto is you restrict carbohydrates. I eat no more than 20 total carbs per day. I eat primarily protein and fat, and I don't, go around eating sticks of butter, but basically I eat like fatty cuts of meat. So this morning breakfast was egg and steak, chuck eye steak, which I love. I was celebrating with
Yeah.
my family, eggs and chuck eye steak. So we eat whole real foods, and people can be critical and they go, oh, it's not safe. And I always just chuckle. And I take pictures of our food, and I'm like, okay, no one has ever said to me when I'm feeding my children back in the day when I used to feed
Right.
them, foods that had fluorescent things in them, like colored marshmallows or Oreos,
Yeah.
bright red icing. Nobody ever questioned me giving them Pop Tarts, but I give them chicken wings, I give them steak, I give them eggs, I give them meatballs, homemade meatballs without any breadcrumbs. And all of a sudden they're going, have you talked to your doctor? Do you know if that's safe? And I'm going, wait a minute, guys. We have gotten so far away from what real food is that you tell me that something from a factory that a food scientist developed is not
Yeah.
something I need to question, but I need to question giving them meat and vegetables.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it makes
Yeah.
me a little nuts, actually, especially when we come to children or pregnant
Oh,
women.
for sure.
Oh, my sister-in-law is pregnant, and I love her dearly, and she's posting these pictures of herself. She's at the donut shop, and people are going, "Oh, you're so adorable. Enjoy those donuts." And of course, I'm going, oh, "You're going to get gestational diabetes." But she is,
Right.
and people are just loving it. But if someone asks, "Is it safe for a pregnant woman to do a keto diet?" Folks start to lose their minds, and you're going, "Wait a minute. It just simply means that you're eating foods that would have been recognized as food 2 generations ago."
Right. That is true. I mean, this is exactly how our grandparents and our great grandparents were eating. I mean, sugar was not readily available, so you were not
Absolutely.
eating things like that. And I mean, that's somehow over time period, we've gotten so addicted to that sugar and the carbs, and it's true. But I'm looking here, like right now, I'm looking at your February section and white chocolate raspberry cheesecake. Now, nobody is going to think that you can eat that when you're on a quote unquote diet. Right. That's one thing about keto is that it really isn't a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, I don't eat that every single day. It's so funny.
Right.
My daughter was looking
I would though.
which my daughter was looking through the book last night. She's like, "You haven't made this since you took the picture for the book." And I was laughing and I'm like, "Well, I don't because a lot of them are treats. And we also freeze things. So like if I made, well, first of all, I wouldn't make the white chocolate raspberry cheesecake unless I was having company over or I was taking it to someone's house. And in that
Yeah.
case, I might get a slice at that day, and that's it. If we do happen to have something, if I'm testing a recipe and we have leftovers, often I'll slice it up and freeze it. I'll take it to work and give it to colleagues who love it. So often I'll tend to give it away, or I do throw it in the freezer just to keep me from getting into it.
Yeah, smart. And bagels too. I mean, who would think that you can have bagels?
So fun, so fun. And cinnamon bagels. I did cinnamon in June for my husband because he adores those.
It's hard when you grow up on a meat and potatoes bread diet
Yeah,
to think that you can live without it, but you really don't need to. And that's one thing I'm really excited about with your cookbook. I'm definitely going to go get some of these things and really try to bake more keto for the holidays because
right.
Christmas cookie baking is coming up
Yeah.
and people put on so much weight during this time of year.
It's true. I lost 2.5 pounds the first Christmas season that we did keto back in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah, like who does that? And I had eaten good foods. And that was kind of those light bulb moments when it's like, okay, I can sustain this. If I can go through the holidays and not feel deprived, stay on plan, enjoy some amazing food, and lose weight, I got this. This is
Yeah.
my baby.
Well, and I think that's the key is that you do feel deprived if you're not letting yourself have anything. And that's why, for me, when I haven't been baking anything that's keto friendly, when I'm around everybody else who's eating a regular cheesecake or a bunch of cookies or donuts, I feel like, well, I'll just do it this time. I'll
Right.
just cheat for now. And then what happens is I keep doing it for the next couple days. Oh, well, you know what? I'll just have another cheat day.
Well,
And it just, snowballs and goes down the hill and I can't get back to it.
no, it does. It does. And there are physiological reasons for that. Because when you elevate your blood sugar and then you get the insulin and then it comes down, the hunger is there. So the cravings are going to be worse and the hunger is going to be worse. And so it's harder to fight those. And then you also feel bad about yourself psychologically. Doggone it, why
Yeah.
did I do that again? And so all that combination makes it even harder. And so yeah, it can become a vicious cycle.
Yeah. So what would your advice be for people that are wanting to try the keto diet but have not gotten there yet?
I think one of the things that worked for me and that I think I see in other people works nicely is don't commit for the rest of your life. Commit for 2 weeks. I'm going to do this for 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, see, I'm going to stick with it 100%. No cookie, no nibbling, no cheating unless it's a low carb cookie. But I'm going to do this 100% committed for 2 weeks because I think what happens if you can push through those 2 weeks, and you're going to have some times where you're going to have cravings and it may be difficult. But at the end of that 2 weeks, if this diet is right for you, you should be able to, one, see a difference in your hunger. Two, you should be able to see a difference in either losing weight or inches or clothes fitting differently. And three, maybe even energy levels. So at the end of those 2 weeks, that's a great time to think, okay, was this worth it for me? The other thing I think you have to do, make the temporary 2 week commitment. And even now, I don't say, man, I'm not going down to the Krispy Kreme. I'm like, not for today. I'm not doing. I can push through this for 2 more weeks, right? But the other thing that I think you have to do is focus on what you can have. Too often we sit around and go, oh, I can't have bread, I can't have pasta, I can't potatoes. Focus on what you can have. Man, I can eat bacon. Like I can eat bacon until I am absolutely sick of bacon if I want to. I can
Right.
actually put butter on my vegetables. I can enjoy full fat dairy, which I've never been able to do before. So when you start focusing on these are the foods I really like. These are low carb. I can enjoy these foods. Then I think it makes the diet so much easier. Just take deprivation off the menu. And when you're not deprived, you're more likely to be compliant.
Right. Definitely. The great tips, great tips. You also have a lot of cocktails in your cookbook,
Right.
which is great because the holidays come, they're coming and we have New Year's coming up and you're out with friends and everybody's having a drink and you don't want to sit back and be like, "Well, I can't drink tonight," but you have some great ones. You have some in every month.
Yes, yes. I made a
So,
commitment to put at least one cocktail every month. And so there's a Bloody Mary cocktail for January, for New Year's Eve, or New Year's Day, rather.
yeah,
And yeah, and because, the same kind of thing, you're right. If everybody's having a drink, that is like a very, very social thing. And you don't do the flavored liquors, most alcohol is low carb. And you have to remember it's going straight to the liver, it's going to be metabolized there first. And it can lower blood sugar, which can make you hungrier. So you want to drink in moderation. And after you've been fat adapted, alcohol will have generally a stronger impact on you. So one drink is usually enough for me. But I can make up White Russians and have people over and enjoy a drink. In the summer, I grow fresh mint and we have mojitos. In fact, my daughter will say, "Mom, let's make mojitos." She's 15. And we make it for the kids without rum. We just leave the white rum. They
nice.
love it. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
kind of, yeah, so I think it's an important part for some people, more so than others, but I think it's an important part of that social aspect. Like you can invite the carnivores over and enjoy it. People will say to me, "When you have people over, do you serve keto food?" And I'm like, "No, I serve food. It's food. White
right,
chicken chili. It doesn't have to be keto food. It's just food that they love."
right, right. Well, and that is funny that people think that they think that keto food's going to be different than, but that's a
Right.
good point. You have some great pictures in here too. Like it looks like a peanut butter cup.
Ah, yes.
So now, when you're making that, do you have to go buy special peanut butter, or can you use the normal, what normal, I guess, Jif or whatever?
Yeah, well, so I look for brands that don't have any sugar in them. What I want is a brand that's just peanuts and nuts, but there are several now in the stores as long as you read the labels. So I use Crazy Richards, I think is at Walmart. Sometimes there's a store brand that only has peanuts. I want peanuts and salt, and that's it.
Okay.
For me, the more salt, the better. But I love those peanut butter cups. I used to get like those, oh my goodness, those Reese eggs, the Reese eggs that,
Yeah, yeah.
oh my gosh, at Easter. Oh, I used to buy those, and then, of course, the day after Easter when they're all 50% off, I was loading up my
Right.
cart. Of course, it was always for the kids, but, it wasn't for the kids.
Yeah, right.
And so the first year, I saw those darn things, and I wanted one so badly, and I'm like, "Okay, Kristie, you can make this. You can make this." So I did, and honestly, I make them. In fact, right now I have some of the filling in my freezer. And so if I wanted to make a batch, all I would do is melt the chocolate and I could put them together pretty quickly. Then that's another thing I do as a working mom. Try to come up with ways that I can do things quickly that don't take a ton of time, but that are homemade and that we can enjoy and without being off plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Now tell me one of your family's favorite recipes from this book.
Oh my, wow, just one.
Or more than one, either way.
I'm laughing because my daughter and I love the sweets. We love the marinated cheese. We love the chopped hoagie bowl. Grace loves the coconut cake. My husband loves he loves the Mexican recipes, the fried diablo, which is not Mexican, it's Italian, but the spicy shrimp. He loves the el pastor, the barbacoa, which is the Mexican beef. So I think they all have different favorites. But
Yeah.
that's part of why I love to cook, thank goodness.
Yeah, that actually, I'm scrolling through as we're talking, and I got to the Cinco de Mayo section with the wheat-free tortillas, and that honestly, that would be a hard thing for me to like going to a Mexican restaurant. I want to eat those chips, but you can with these recipes.
You can. And honestly, once I started looking at the carb value and the salsa, I'm like, okay, I really don't want those chips and salsa. What I really want are the carnitas, or I order the fajitas and just get the meat with extra guacamole and sour cream and
Mm,
cheese. And that's the best part. Like once you leave the tortilla on, you realize the tortilla really has no flavor. And so, but let me
right.
have, like I said, or even fresh avocado. But my mouth is watering now talking about. the shredded cheese, I mean, the meat, the peppers, the onion, you can have in all of that. And it's kind of forced me to try different recipes, different menu items at restaurants, because all of a sudden it's like, well, wow, as long as I focus just on the meat and the vegetables, then I can try these different things. So anyway, that's part of why. And I had a ball going to some of the little local Mexican stores trying to find some of those peppers. They also have them at Walmart. So I really didn't have to go to the tiendas to find them. But I had a great time learning about those peppers and actually cooking with them. It was great. It was great fun. And then I have some friends who are from Mexico, and I would share the recipes with them and say, okay, tell me the truth. What do you think? How's this El Pastor? And they're like, well, Kristie, often we put pineapple in it, but this is even without the pineapple, this works. So I got it. I got the thumbs up on some of the.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you even make carrot cake without the carrot.
Oh, it's so good. That is one of my most popular recipes, the carrot cake cheesecake. I actually have it out on YouTube. People love that recipe so much. And actually, my husband is the one who it was kind of his idea to put the cheesecake, the carrot cake together, and the icing, because, carrot cake has that very traditional cream cheese icing.
Yeah.
And I was going to leave that off. And he's like, no, it's got to have the icing. And so I put it on. I'm like, I think this is overkill. And he's like, no. So that actually, technically, that would be one of his absolute favorites. And that is I
Yeah.
make generally every single Easter.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they all look delicious. They sound delicious. I'm so excited to try these. And you've made it so simple to go through and just make your grocery list, and honestly, it's an amazing cookbook. So I thank you so much for writing it.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me a chance to talk about it today.
Yeah, how many cookbooks have you written so far?
Gosh, that was my third. So the first one I self-published, and I did it. I had quite a following on YouTube, and folks said, "We love YouTube, but we want a book. We want something to have in the kitchen that's on print." And so I self-published it and made probably so many mistakes. Didn't know what I was doing, but again, I work full time, have kids. I do this because I struggled all my life, and so I just want to help other people who need to do this for their.
Yeah,
And so I
that's great.
self-published, and then it did so well. I mean, I didn't have a hashtag, didn't have a marketing plan. I just put a book out there, to be honest. And all of a sudden, I had publishers calling me, going, "Hey, we want to do your next book." And I'm like, "Next book? Oh, okay." And so
Nice, yeah.
the first one I did with a publisher is called Keto Living Day by Day, and that book came out in June of 2018. And I wrote that book for people who are really trying to begin, people who are trying to figure out how to get started. It has a 28-day guide with almost like a
Oh, that's my next one. I'm gonna go buy that as soon as we get off the phone here. I'm serious.
well, it has almost like a daily devotional, and it explains. And the recipes in there are so so simple. A lot of them you can make in 30 minutes or less. It's all stuff you can buy at Walmart. No special ordering ingredients, because I didn't want people. Not everybody has a credit card on Amazon, and I didn't want
Yeah.
people to see that as an obstacle. And so all of those are very simple things that, and people who don't cook. I grew up watching both grandmothers cook, but a lot of people don't have that anymore. A lot of
Yeah.
people simply everything came from a box. My friends, the friends of my children will come over, and they're like, "Your mom's melting chocolate to make brownies?" Like, they've never seen a mom do that, right? And so that book is for those kinds of folks. And in fact, it has a recipe for roasted chicken. And I was doing that book. My husband's like, "You're going to put roasted chicken in the cookbook?" I'm like, "People don't know
Yeah.
what to do with a roasted chicken, and this is simple."
It's true.
It
It's true.
it really is true. And it's not a criticism of anyone. It's simple
No,
society.
it's, our society's gotten so busy that, if
Yes,
two
yes,
parents are
absolutely.
working and we just don't have time.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so where can people find you? Let's see, we have cookingketowithkristie.com is your website.
Yes,
And is that also, you also have a YouTube channel as well?
right. Same name. YouTube channel is Cooking
Okay.
Keto with Kristie. And most recently, I have joined the Diet Doctor team. So if you're at dietdoctor.com, I am now working for them, or will be in January.
Okay, great. Yes, I do follow Diet Doctor as well. And also you have a Facebook page. Is it Simply Keto?
Right. My page is called Simply Keto. That's right.
Very good. And everybody, check out Keto Gatherings. It is an Awesome. Seriously, awesome cookbook. I'm so glad that I've added it to my Kindle books, but I'm definitely going to go buy the hard copy as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
You too, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you. You too.
Right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. I want to thank Kristie Sullivan for talking with me today. Go ahead and go get her book, Keto Gatherings, and check out her website, cookingketowithkristie.com. That's Kristie. I also want to thank you for joining me today, and please go and leave a review for our podcast so that others can find us. Share us with your friends and family who are also foodies, and like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have any suggestions or comments, you can also email me at loveyouabrunchpodcast@gmail.com. Join me next week when I talk to Christina Ward about her new book, American Advertising Cookbooks: How Corporations Taught Us to Love Bananas, Spam, and Jell-O. See you next time. I'm Jody Stapler, and love you a brunch.